we doing? This is JT from hoagiesgarage.com. This is one of my first big posts, I'll say, big reviews with the Subaru here. This is a 2013 STi, WRX STi, whatever you want to call it. I have a product here from Circuit Motorsports. Their website is circuitmotorsports.net, but they came up with a clever idea to fix kind of a known problem or something that could eventually lead to issues in the future. I'm going to cut here and show you what I mean. Now if you saw that there, that was the clutch master cylinder moving as I pushed the pedal in. So I mean there's quite a bit of flex and movement with that. And from what I've read or what I've researched and seen in other videos, that issue is from a thin firewall on the Subaru here. So with that being said, Circuit Motorsports made a brace system that reinforces that master cylinder, ties kind of into the firewall and also the pitch stop mount on the engine. And if you don't know what that is, that's the mount that runs from the engine to the firewall, and it kind of keeps the engine from doing a back and forth movement. This really is my first import, as in like I've never owned one. The closest thing I've had to an import was the first Wrangler ever made from Jeep that had a French transmission. So I'm coming from Chevys, Jeeps, that sort of thing, General Motors products. You know, this is one of my favorite type of mods though, where somebody made something up, came up with it, that fixes a potential problem. I'm all about fixing things before they break, because if you let this go too long, it leads to spot welds breaking in there, and then to fix that you have to weld up your firewall by removing the entire dash, which good luck with that. So I'm going to get the brace and show you here what we got, and then we're going to go with the install and see what happens with this. Hopefully it's noticeable. Everybody says it is, and even if it's not, I'm just glad it's there so I don't have that weld breaking problem in the future. So this is the brace right here, and if my audio is a little quiet, I apologize. I kind of have a directional mic that's facing away from me. Once again, it's by Circuit Motorsports. I'll kind of walk you through this. This right here is where that master cylinder is going to come out, and we're going to catch it on the nuts that hold the master cylinder there. This hole here is for, they call it like some sort of cup that comes out on a stud, and that braces against the firewall. And then this hole right here goes into the bolt that holds the pitch stop mount on the engine. It's a really high quality piece. I picked the red. They have it in 3 colors, I believe, if not more. It's not as red as you thought. Like, I actually thought it might be the same red as this, but clearly it's not, which I really don't care. You're not going to see this. You know, they have installation instructions on their website. They didn't run them for me, which is cool. It's an easy install. First move though, and this is really the first time I've really gotten into this engine. I've never even changed the oil just because I'm kind of worried about the known issues with this engine, so I've been going to an oil change place, so if something does happen I have all my records. But without rambling too much, basically this is the first thing I've done to this short of an intercooler guard. And it only has roughly 35,000 miles or so on it, so it's fairly low mileage, and I haven't even had it a year yet, so very excited to do this. Intercooler has to come off first. I'll show you how that works, and then we'll get to the brace next. So intercooler has to come off. First move, 2 bolts, 12 millimeter each, one there, one right there. The next two bolts that come off are these two right here and here, 12 millimeter, and from what I read, that is the blow-off valve. If you can see, there's a hose clamp right there, and then one way down there. I'm going to break those two loose, and also this tubing that runs across here is bolted right there and right there. These are 10 millimeter, and these I'll probably just do the hose clamps with some longer screwdrivers, or I might mess with a socket down on that one. We'll see. But either way, those are pretty self-explanatory. 10 millimeter on these, and these even have screwdriver heads on them, but I don't think I'm really going to be able to fit one in there. So after that, I'm pretty sure it should lift right out of here. So let's try this out. So here is what this looks like with the intercooler out. Kind of crazy, the different things you can see. Factory pitch stop, clutch line, starter. For you top or front mount intercooler guys, this is kind of something you probably see more often than me, but yeah. Clutch master cylinder. Pretty open now as far as what we can see and work on, and that's kind of why you pull the intercooler off, because without that you're really not seeing this stuff. And then over here is our intercooler. There's like a seal right there where the blow off goes. Pretty clean, not bad. There's the guard on there. Back side of it. So now that all that's off of there, the intercooler and all that stuff in the way. Wow. Yeah. So now that all that is out of the way there, I'm going to start to kind of take this apart, figure out where all these pieces parts go, and go from there. Just going to sort of follow Circuit Motorsports' online instructions, and I'll sort of explain as we go here. But from what I can tell and just kind of glancing at the instructions, the intercooler was the hard part of this install. So here we go. So the master cylinder back here has two nuts on it. One is right there, and the other's kind of like back on that side. Obvious, pretty simple, easy, you know, on opposite sides. Those are 12 millimeter. I used a deep 12 millimeter socket on this one, and then to get to this one I used a 12 millimeter with a really tiny little extension because this line's in the way right there. Pretty tight though, as far as compared to the intercooler bolts, and those nuts, you need to save them because you're going to reuse them. So the pitch stop mount right here has this big 14 millimeter bolt that runs through it, and it is there's not a loose nut on the other side, it's like a welded on nut. So we basically break this one loose right here, and we're going to actually not reuse that bolt. From what I can tell, the Circuit Motorsports comes with a longer bolt to compensate for that, the brace basically. So next move, we're gonna get, after all that's apart, gonna get this guy installed next. It's basically you finagle it down and around, and you catch these two holes on the U there on the studs back there that don't have the nuts on them. It's pretty simple, and then I mean, once it catches on those, you're pretty much set on your location. There's not much wiggle room or movement once you lock in on those two studs. So I'm gonna wiggle this in here and then sort of cut to it being installed on those studs. One small change, if you can see without me wiggling too much, this bolt right there that holds the clutch line to the pitch stop mount down there, I'm going to take that off because it should give my clutch line a little bit more play so I can slip the bracket behind it. That's a 12 millimeter there, so nothing crazy, just same size we've been using, but just going to loosen it up and take that off of there. Okay, so that did the trick. If you can see, there it is. It's sitting there on the studs back here. Just got to sort of start those nuts and then go from there. But
Right down there you can see that bracket hanging there, just that bolt I undid. That was tight as anything, good lord. But it's kind of a shame when you put this new nice shiny red piece in and you scratch it all up putting it in there just because it's going around. You got to finagle behind all this stuff. But go ahead and get these bolts started and kind of finger tight. I'm going to catch the longer pitch stop bolt through there and then put those nuts back on the studs on the master cylinder back there just to sort of start reassembly here. So the nuts are started back here. You can see them. I just finger tighten them, if not looser than that. One tip I'll give you on this back one here, the right side or the driver's side one, if you put it in the socket, it's got a shoulder on the nut. It won't fall through or anything, and it lets you start it a lot easier. Just don't go crazy gorilla tight. Just finger tighten with a bare socket. I also caught this big gold bolt. You can see the head of it down there. Goes all the way through, and even in here, like I said, this factory bracing has a nut kind of welded to it. It's like threaded. So you're going to use that as still as the normal pitch stop mount. Now this extra thread sticking out here, that's there for your nut and washer that they gave you. My plan on this, pretty much what I want to do is I'm going to tighten these down because I want the brace kind of on the master cylinder snug and straight first, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to take the whole thing and tighten it on the pitch stop and tweak it or anything like that. I want it sitting on there flush to start. Now this guy in here, that's just finger tight, so it's nothing crazy. So I want to get it seated on the firewall, the brace, and then I'll move to this nut, and then I'm going to do that last one there, which is just sort of like an outrigger. So yeah, it's a little dark in there. If I'd have had the silver one, you probably could have seen it a little better, but you can see already it's scratched up, but I mean, I guess it's under there. It's not a show car, so who cares? So I'm going to torque these down first, then go to that. Got the nuts tightened onto the firewall there with the master cylinder. Next move, I started this. This is just finger tight, nothing crazy. Is I'm going to torque this bolt, which right there, 43 foot-pounds, because that's the factory specs on this brace right here. Now, I did show you earlier, and I'm going to explain this one more time why I did it this way. Before you torque down these nuts, you're going to want to catch this longer gold bolt, at least get it through the brace, because if you torque this down back here, it's going to be a nightmare trying to line that up. Now, it's machined really well, so it might just perfectly line up anyways, but it's a good idea to start that bolt through there without the nut. I mean, you could even put the nut on it, but don't torque anything down until you get these torqued. I like the idea of torquing to the master cylinder to the firewall first, just so you know you got a nice solid catch on there. So like I said, 43 foot-pounds on this, and then yeah, kind of finish up here. So you could stop right there, because really we've tied into the master cylinder and tied into the we'll say the engine mount there, pitch stop mount. But they give you this handful of parts here. This is what they refer to as the Delrin cup. And basically it uses that hole that we haven't used yet back here. And it's going to put this little kind of really hard plastic cup up against the firewall as sort of like a jam nut type setup. So I'm going to put this on here and then show you what it looks like. It's pretty simple, nothing crazy. Just an extra, we'll say, outrigger for your brace. So last part's on. That's the bolt with the two nuts and the Delrin cup. 14 millimeter is the bolt, the nuts, everything. I basically got it so it was snug, and then used these nuts to sort of tighten, you know, against the brace and like kind of like a jam nut type setting. But yeah, that's it. Everything's on. Everything's torqued. You know, it's as sturdy as it's gonna get. I'm gonna mount the camera here, then get inside and push the clutch in, see what we got here on the master cylinder movement, just to compare what we had before. So let's see how this looks.
As you can see, still a little bit of movement, but major improvement, and if that keeps the welds and the firewall more secure and just going to make it so I can drive this thing 100,000 miles without having any issues in that area, I'm more than happy. I'm going to go give it a drive and see if it's any different, sort of report back and let you know if it, feels better, tighter, whatever. A lot of guys say that it's a crazy improvement, like better clutch engagement, daily driving, and then on high performance driving, or we'll even say just, aggressive driving, it's better yet. But I still need to put the intercooler back on, which that's just reverse order. The hard part's done as far as figuring all this out and the wiggling and the finagling of all that. But so, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being a full engine removal and 1 being an oil change, I'd put this at like a 2.5 at most. It's just simple bolts and simple hand tools, nothing special. And if you follow this guide, I really think it's going to be pretty easy for yourself. So let me get it back together here, then we'll go from there. So after a quick run around town, just testing out acceleration, 0 to 60, downshifts, everything that has to do with this whole setup, the clutch brace I think is more preventative. With that, what I mean by that is I'm hoping the main reason I put it on there was so I don't have any firewall issues, rivets, welding, any of that crap. So I did notice the clutch felt a smidge better, just as far as pushing the pedal down. I don't know. I won't say it was worth the money. It's $180 for that thing. I'm not going to say that's worth $180. The worrying is worth that, though. Like, I don't have to worry about this now. It's braced up. It should be good to go. So with that being said, the clutch brace from Circuit Motorsports, I think it's a win overall. Like I said, I love mods like this where you can, fix something before it breaks or fix something the factory didn't get right. I don't really like doing mods that, ruin the car or anything. This definitely doesn't ruin anything, and if anything, it prevents you from having issues in the future. So check them out. Hopefully you liked this install video. More to come on the Subaru here as I do things. I tell a lot of people this. I'm not doing anything too crazy right now. I don't want my warranty voided from the factory on the powertrain, which it's still good. So but little things like this don't ruin anything powertrain wise or warranty wise. So circuitmotorsports.net, hoagiesgarage.com for more stories. Subscribe on YouTube. Gonna have a lot on the STi as I see fit here. So yeah, thanks for watching, appreciate it, and hopefully this video helped you out with your install. Have a good one. See you next time.